Today we're in First Thessalonians chapter 3. We're going to read verses 3 through 6. It begins, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from fornication, that each one of you know how to control your own body in holiness and honor, not with lustful passion, like the Gentiles who do not know God, that no one wrong or exploit a brother or sister in this manner, because the Lord is an avenger in all these things, just as we have already told you beforehand and solemnly warned you." Now, to read Paul, or for that matter, the New Testament itself, involves a difficult task of unlearning the definitions of several words. Sanctify, its cognate noun here, sanctification, is one such word. Atheists use that word sarcastically because to them it sounds pompous and sanctimonious. Now, newer Christians oftentimes don't understand how it's used inside of the faith. But here it is. To sanctify generally means to set something apart for God, taking it out of the general realm of the world. A sanctuary is a sanctified room, a room that's set aside for worshipful purposes. The basic definition is simple. The issue that we seek is that we seek sanctification for ourselves. And when we see simple hypocrites speak of their sanctification, it can cause problems. We might feel like phonies. Others might dismiss our faith and our salvation as sheer hypocrisy. But he says here in verse 3, it's the will of God that we be sanctified. It tells us this unambiguously. We are therefore to be special people whose lives are set apart by God and for God. Now, it may be an impossible goal without the grace of Christ, for the most devout person will confess their sins. But number one, it is nevertheless a goal for which we have to strive. And number two, we do have the grace of Christ. Now, the first item in Paul's teaching of sanctification, the first direct command, is abstinence from sexual immorality. Now, a secular moralist might call fornication a victimless crime. God disagrees. Even solo lust harms a person's sanctification. Here, however, Paul seems especially concerned about the cumulative effect of having two persons engaged in sin together. It's easy enough to see his point where one seduces another person or commits adultery, but even an act of simple fornication involving two unmarried consenting adults will involve collaborative sin. How can this be harmonized with Christ's teaching in Matthew 5:28, where everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart? Because sin begins in the heart. A dieter ensures their downfall when they start to dwell on their craving for just one more piece of chocolate. One begins the process of murder when one mentally points a gun at another person. The teaching here about actual fornication puts more emphasis on the act itself and the impact that it has on others. Where the intention of the Sermon on the Mount was to show a group of self righteous Jews their sin, Paul's intention is to teach a group of Greeks brought up in an environment of superheated lasciviousness to break the chains of slavery to animal passion. The Jews, at least, knew what morality was, but the Gentiles had lived in a world where such matters as vanity, pederasty, and murder were looked upon as virtues. They needed a course in remedial morality. So, step one, as taught here, is stop doing it. This is the basic disparity in the point of view of a Christian and a pagan. An atheist will complain about the straitjacket of Christian morals. They'll see Christianity as slavery because it would hinder them from doing what they want to do. A Christian understands that the atheist's freedom of choice is not freedom at all. The atheist is simply obedient to their base instincts rather than to the higher and holy law of God. Now, both Matthew that I referenced earlier and the passage we read from today emphasize freedom from slavery, which is the reward for following Christ's teachings about being pure of heart. Would you pray with me? Lord, you created me for your purpose. Open my eyes to your plan and help me walk in it each day. Keep me from despair when I cannot see the results of my faithfulness, and remind me that my life has meaning because of your wisdom. Amen.